Welcome back, Central Indiana sports fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for this week's edition of Greg versus Will, and eventually versus the world. I think I have it figured out, Will. I think we're going to be able to take on the world starting next week. What we do, Will and I, every week we make predictions, we debate, we wager points based on our predictions, and so far the score, Will, is 6-0. Will over Greg. We don't want to talk about that. So how it works is there are 4 questions every week. They're worth 1 point if there are 2 options for the answer, 2 points if there are a few, 3 points if there's a whole field that we're picking against, like we did with the Masters. And last week, Will, the Suns beat the Warriors for the final play-in spot, so you get that point. The Sixers won more first-round games than the Blazers, which I just cannot believe has happened. And now the score is 6-0.
Well, there is a lot of opportunity left on the board for you to get even, but like
eternity.
I've said the last couple times, I've felt good about where I've been sitting at. And we won't bring up off-air conversations, but I feel like there's been a couple times where you've thought, hey, maybe I'm arguing a point I don't necessarily agree with.
I haven't.
You haven't.
I definitely have not. We're always going to talk about the number one topic on our minds, whether we agree or not, and then we're going to have 3 points in which we disagree. And, well, there's still a bunch of points up in the air right now from past shows. Yep. We will get to those. The next one on our schedule right now is May 10th, but we're going to have a few right now that are going to be decided before that, including 1 tonight.
Absolutely.
Maybe 2 tonight. Question number 1, Will. The NFL draft was last weekend. Yep. The Indianapolis Colts did not have a first-round draft pick. In the second round, they drafted CJ Allen, a linebacker out of Georgia. And in the third round, a safety from LSU, AJ Haulcy. Will, this week's question is, for 1 point, will either one of them be on an all-rookie team next year?
I think it's a great question, considering the fact that they're neither one first-round picks, which conventionally speaking, you would say those are who would have the highest chance. But I don't necessarily think in this situation it is. I'm going to say
I increased the odds by giving you both.
Yes.
So
I am going to say yes, because I think CJ Allen does have a really good opportunity to be the all-rookie middle linebacker, because of the fact that he's going to be a day one starter. And I think a lot of times, especially defensively, rookies don't necessarily step in right away and have a huge impact. I do think that CJ Allen will. I think him playing the mic is going to be huge for this Colts defense, his ability to come in, and obviously we don't expect him to be Luke Kuechly in his prime from day one, but like to be a competent middle linebacker week 1 of the season, that's what your hope is, and I think that will be good enough for him to be an all-rookie team member.
I think that's where I would lean, is that CJ Allen is going to be starting immediately. There's no doubt that he is going to get his opportunity from day one. He's going to have to earn the spot clearly, but he's the favorite going into that.
Yep.
I think it was the 4th, 5th middle linebacker taken, so he has a pretty good shot. But I think Haulcy too. I hate to say this because I've said it before and it's been not true. I think of several players come to mind immediately, but I think that Chris Ballard nailed this draft, particularly these 2 guys. And I think they both have a shot. Maybe not both getting on there, but both have a shot of being the guy who becomes an all-rookie player. But I think it's probably...
I'd like to hear your reasoning on Haulcy, because I'm not low on him.
He's going to get an opportunity too.
I think so.
I think the second safety position is without question open for competition. I think they plan on him competing for a starting job from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think they think he was a second round talent and may have taken him in the second round had other guys been gone that they wanted, including of course CJ Allen. So, and I think he's really good. At LSU, he was a star.
Yeah.
And I think that he has a chance to be a really good player. He's got some limitations, but in that secondary, he might be in a perfect spot where a lot of other guys are great in pass coverage as well, might get his opportunities.
Yeah, I think that it's a good point. I think in a way in his rookie year, because you've got so much experience with Bynum, with Mooney Ward, if he's able to come back. I think Justin Wally kind of falls into that similar category too. But my guess is that Haulcy's there's gonna be a lot of shots taken to him early, and the tight end position's a lot different than it maybe was 5 years ago. I think it's probably harder to be a strong safety. And everybody says, well, TJ Allen's gonna have the green dot. Sure, I'm well aware of that, but I don't know. I think strong safety is a tough position to be really good at right away.
I think the answer is CJ Allen. I do think that it's possible also that Haulcy, we never hear from him again. Third rounders, they work sometimes, they don't sometimes. That's also possible with a third round safety.
Nick Cross, I believe, was a third rounder.
But I think that there's as good a chance that he's going to. I think he nailed this draft.
I
think the scouts nailed this.
There was a question that you had in terms of how the Colts performed in this draft, and looking league wide more and the two teams that really came to my mind were the Colts and Washington. Those are the two teams that I really think checked a lot of boxes in terms of needs. I think hindsight's always probably going to be 2020 in a way, because we don't really know if Seattle or a team like Chicago or Denver had an excellent draft, because they're drafting for 3 spots. Realistically, those are rosters that are pretty much final. Like the Colts had 4 spots, probably 5, maybe even 6 positions, where you could say the person we draft right here is going to be a starter. And I don't necessarily think that for teams picking in the back half of the draft, because they made the playoffs. Their teams are better. And depending on who you lost, you may not even have a spot that you realistically think's open.
So the Colts was our main focus of the draft over the weekend. Our second focus locally was IU. 8 players drafted, including Fernando Mendoza, number 1. And here is question number 2, Will. Who will have the biggest impact of those 8 players from the national championship Hoosiers based on Football Digest approximate value worth 2 points? Fernando Mendoza, Omar Cooper Jr., D'Angelo Pons, Kalen Black, or Elijah Surratt? And I'm going to start with this one, and the answer is Elijah Surratt. I think he is fantastic. I think the Ravens nailed this. They went out and got 2 wide receivers who are great fits for Lamar Jackson, guys who can get open, guys who can go get the ball at the point of attack, guys who you throw the ball up and he has one guy on and you think he's the guy who's going to go get the ball. I think Elijah Surratt can be that guy. I think he's going to make an immediate impact. He and Jacoby Lane might both make an immediate impact, and I might be arguing against myself there because they might also cancel each other out a little bit. Zay Flowers is the guy with the Ravens, but do you have any faith in Rashad Bateman, Devontae Walker? I think he has a chance to, if not supplant those guys, at least eat into some of their targets. And I think the answer is Elijah Surratt, who I think is going to be an Anquan Bolden kind of player for the Ravens eventually. And at this point, I'm going to say something that I've kind of been holding in on the IU report is I think Fernando Mendoza was a product of the system at IU. I do not think he's going to be a very successful NFL quarterback. In fact, I doubt he plays this year.
I'm with you. I don't think he plays either. It's an interesting conversation because obviously they draft Cousins. I really don't feel like he's in a position where he's going to Vegas unless he thinks he has some shot of a starting job. I mean,
sure. He has that. He definitely has a shot.
They're better off if Mendoza doesn't play. I'm kind of with you. I thought that the issue with the IU folk that are, I'm sure, listening to the show and contribute, a lot of IU people contribute to the show as well, is the overhype of that he's our guy. And it's great that he's your guy, but we can also, we had this argument a couple weeks ago. If we look at other first, number 1 draft picks at the quarterback position, or even the top quarterback taken, I'm not sure, other than Kenny Pickett, that he would be the number 1 quarterback taken the last 6 years, just based on the entire sample size. I would have had CJ Stroud above Fernando Mendoza. I don't know about Bryce Young. I do agree. I think that he's slightly overblown, and there was such a necessity for the Raiders to draft a quarterback at 1 that it just felt perfect. It was a great talking point. But
I see why it looks good. He's smart. He has good timing on his passes. There are some things in his game, but there are also some things he lacks that were not exposed with that great offensive line, those great receivers.
I agree completely.
His receivers bailed him out so much, and I just don't think people saw that.
Yeah. I think that people really underestimate how good of a receiving core that IU had. Elijah
and how
Sarnoff,
good of an offensive line.
Omar Cooper, Charlie Becker. Those are three, in terms of college receiving trios.
The running game, too.
They were very good. It's just, I agree. I think that there was, a lot of his weaknesses were masked by their talent. I want to talk about another.
He is a great leader, though.
He's a great leader. He's a great leader. I'm not going to question that.
So he's got a shot.
But
by the way, I also want to point out that I thought Drew Brees was not going to be a great NFL quarterback. So take it with a grain of salt.
Well,
I thought he was a product of the Joe Tiller system.
He's a generational type quarterback. So I'm not really going to speak like that. But I mean, the first 4 years of his career, I don't think anybody probably would have said, Drew Brees is the guy.
Correct. Until he got to New Orleans.
Yeah. Greg, I really like D'Angelo Pons as my highest impact player for this year. The reason for it, corner is a very easy position for elite players to transition from the college to the NFL level. There are a lot of really good rookie quarterbacks, great rookie quarterbacks. I mean, you go down the laundry list of Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, we're just talking the last 5 years. Those are elite cornerbacks that immediately were NFL-ready starters, all pro-level players their first year. So I think corner is just with the amount of reps that you now get with 7-on-7, the amount of athleticism that it takes, to me, he feels like a really strong fit, especially on a Jets defense where he really, outside of Will Anderson, probably going to be their best defensive player in a way. And I don't know whether they're going to use him on the outside or they're going to use him in the nickel. Obviously, there is some size concern with him being an outside receiver because X's now in the NFL level are running about 6'3", 220. And as much as Michelle, who's going to get a shout out here, Michelle Garman of the Tipton Tribune and call leader, as much as she likes to hype up his game, there is an element where it's still college. And like now he's going to have to defend grown men for 18 weeks. And that's a whole different challenge. And
there'll be some adjustment for sure.
I like his ability to impact, even if he isn't inside in the nickel, because I think he's a physical tackler and he's got a nose for the football. I think that it's going to be quiet. He's going to be one of those players that you look back and you don't necessarily remember the rookie year, but like you go look at the actual value added to that defense, and I think you'll see that he is going to be a very good NFL player for a long time. Kenny Moore seems like his comp to me. Who's the third best nickel corner in the league? You can't even name the third best. So
yeah, I think you're right.
It's not necessarily a position.
If we were in season, I could probably.
Yes,
but yeah,
I'm just saying, like on a general level, like you could tell me who
you're exactly right.
15th best cornerback was in the league, but the third best nickel, you're going to really struggle finding names.
Good point. And I like your pick, but I like mine better. All right, well, that was fun. Question number 3. Who is going to play the Indiana Fever in the WNBA Finals, of course? We all know the Fever are about to win a WNBA championship this year. No doubt about it. But if for some reason they don't, who wins the championship? And when the Fever do win the championship, who will they beat for the championship?
I think my pick's the Liberty because I just think they underachieved last year.
I hope it's the Liberty.
They have so much talent. I think it's more of a surprise that they weren't there last year than not. And so for me, it's like that roster basically has stayed intact. I still think Ionescu has room to grow in her game to get even better. And I feel like there was a lot of distraction around her in where she had become like a pop culture icon in a way, especially after competing with Steph in that 3-point competition. Now, that's not to take any disrespect away from her in doing that. I think sometimes athletes can lose focus when that is where we're at. And to me, I feel like after really underachieving for a year, I see her as a player that comes in and really stomps her foot on opposition and just says, I'm too good not for this to happen again. This just doesn't, she feels to me like a Kobe Bryant in a way of just her mentality and the way that she plays the game, even at the women's level. I think she's a killer. I just don't see her letting what happened last year and kind of the fall off be the expectation now.
I think the answer is still probably the Aces. A'ja Wilson right now has the crown as greatest women's basketball player in the world. She's about to lose it. She has it right now. I think she is going to play with a chip on her shoulder because she believes she's the best player in the world. She's not anymore, assuming that Caitlin Clark is at 100%. But I really like Jackie Young, of course, from Princeton, Indiana. And so I don't completely dislike the Aces, and I kind of hope it's them. I kind of like the Liberty, too, which is weird. I hate all New York teams, but I like their roster. I, like you, admire some of their players. Some of the other teams I just despise. The Dream, the Lynx, the Sparks, the Sky, the Storm, the Mercury. Can't
Basically
stand any of
everybody
them.
but like the three teams you've mentioned.
Yeah, well, I have nothing against Golden State, Portland, or Toronto yet, but I'm sure they'll give me a reason to hate them eventually. Yeah. Oh, Connecticut Sun, the Mystics. Can't stand any of those teams.
Well, I'm not sure that you're ever going to probably hear enough from Portland, Golden State, or Toronto to probably ever really have an opinion about it. Maybe someday. It's definitely not like the NHL where expansion teams are like really good right away.
But it's really a waste of time because we know who's winning this, right?
Oh, Fever are, they honestly could have made the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
They just, with how good they are, and you add Caitlin Clark back in the lineup, she really don't think at any point last year, especially after like the first few weeks, it felt to me like the writing was on the wall that she probably wasn't coming back. And then I get the ploy and why the WNBA kind of said it the way they did, but yeah, her addition, I think the step up that Aaliyah Boston took, and I know that's kind of crazy to say because she's an elite 5 in the WNBA, but she took a jump last year to me where it was like, I don't necessarily know that she played better, but the leadership role she took on in Caitlin Clark's absence felt real to me. And Kelsey Mitchell should have been the MVP. I don't know for what she did. We all went, and this is where I think the valuable and best gets so misconstrued in a way, because A'ja Wilson was expected to go do what she did. It's not like anybody was shocked that A'ja Wilson played incredible. But were you shocked that Kelsey Mitchell led the league in scoring? Yeah, I think you were a little bit. I mean, she legitimately put the Fever on their back, won them a playoff series, almost won them 2, off of nothing but willpower. Legitimately was the entire team with that left-handed shot, corner 3 that she just, it looks so good coming out of her hand. I always feel like when she puts a shot up, it's a make. I really don't think the rest of the league stands a chance.
Agreed. I'm not sure they're going to completely dominate the regular season, but they're going to dominate the postseason. I'm a little concerned about Aaliyah Boston didn't play again last night.
Well, I mean,
a little concerned.
I'm concerned that Kennedy Carter's on the Aces now, and she'll probably try to do something in the finals to take Caitlin Clark out. So we can debate that another day, but
let's do it. The more WNBA, the better. All right, well, last question. Very little in sports better than the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We haven't spent nearly enough time talking about it yet. We're about to. Question number 4, Lightning or Canadiens in Game 6 tonight. Worst 1 point. I'm going to go first, Will. I don't know nearly as much about the NHL and the 26th landscape as you do. I don't follow it day to day. I still am a huge fan, and although you're much more knowledgeable than I am on what's going on right now, I've watched this Tampa Bay Lightning team over the years. I know the last 4 years have not gone their way. They've lost in early rounds to really good teams. Yep. But in my mind, guys like Kucherov and Vasilevsky come to mind when I think of the years where the Capitals just couldn't beat them, or the year that they finally did beat them and it felt like a great relief. To me, that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning are, and to me, what the Montreal Canadiens are, in spite of last year's losers.
Yep.
They come up short every single time. I know it doesn't make any sense because last year was different, But to me, Tampa's the hockey town, not Montreal.
Well, that is bold. Greg, I do think there is really something about hockey in a way that I don't necessarily think the NBA or the MLB have, and that's just it feels like every series goes to 7. And especially, these teams have already played each other before this series. They've already played each other 7 times. Like, they've seen the shit out of each other. They know exactly what the lineup looks like. They know who's in, who's out, what the line arrangement's going to look like in terms of who's on the ice. They know each other. I mean, they're in the same division. This is 2 and 3 in the Atlantic. And I do think that has to come into the conversation, especially when you get a coach like John Cooper, who is so, I think, he's been ahead of the game for so long. I think the game may starting to be catching up with him just a little bit. But you've got Marty St. Louis that is now behind the bench for the Canadiens. I like the Canadiens for this reason and this reason only. It feels like this isn't a 7-game series. And I say that because I think the Canadiens getting Brendan Gallagher back is going to be a huge addition to that second line.
For sure.
Really like the line that Kirby Dach centers, that third line for the Canadiens. And I do think that Hedman's absence is just going to rear its ugly head at some point, where it feels like you have that stalwart that's just not there, especially a shutdown defenseman like he is. It changes your penalty kill. It changes your 5-on-5 play a lot. Brandon Hagel's played his ass off in this series. He does deserve a pat on the butt for what he's been able to do. I got to watch him for a couple years in Chicago, and if you'd have told me that he would develop into the type of player that he is now, I mean, true, we're talking a 4th-line plugger type guy in Chicago when he started out. He's Tampa Bay's maybe their second best player behind Nikita Kucherov, and that's huge. It's also in the Bell Center, so that's probably the best home ice advantage in the entire league. Probably, I mean, they're a psychotic fan base. It's like playing in New York for hockey. This is the mecca of hockey is Montreal.
It's no Tampa.
Well, and one could say that. However,
Tampa is the modern Montreal.
The Canadiens have been to the finals since 2020. So
that's correct.
There is some history there. Greg, I think it's a great debate. And you say we should talk more about hockey. If the fans say they want to listen to hockey, I could talk all day. So
I can't. I can talk hockey history with you.
Embrace our fan base to this show too. If you do care about hockey, let us know. We will make sure it stays a vital part because it's the best playoffs in sports. I don't know if it's close.
Well, I wanted to talk some horse racing this week, and unfortunately, we just didn't have the combined knowledge to be able to do that.
We don't. We
want to talk about all the major events on this show, but sorry, Kentucky Derby, we just couldn't. I went once. That was enough for me.
I just really struggle with the fact that, like, that 8th place horse at the Derby, like, there's a bullet waiting for him when he goes back to the stable. Like, I really struggle with that morally with the sport. It just always seems like there's a horse dead.
Thanks so much to Will. I always appreciate it. That was an awful lot of fun. Thank you for listening. Please join us again next week. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.